just tell us your backstory in general, how you got started, why you wanted to flip, and why does Cabin Wars excite you? Why'd you apply?
My backstory, well, the reason we are applying for Cabin Wars is because I've been following you, Ryan, for a long time. I got connected with you through some condos you were marketing in New Orleans, and I didn't pull the trigger, but I've been following you ever since, and that's how I discovered Cabin Wars. We're actually both accountants by trade, so we're the team, we're the accountants. We both got our degrees in college from that and practiced that for a long time, and like gravitated towards this industry organically through different life experiences, but our own life experiences. So we didn't get out of school thinking this is what we're going to do. We were drawn to it. After like climbing the ladder, the corporate ladder in accounting for 10 years, and I'm a CPA as well, I got married and we moved to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and for my husband's job. And we lived there for 4 years. And just by default, we started our family and I became a stay-at-home mother. And I was a stay-at-home mother for 8 years. And I never, ever in my wildest dreams, like imagined that that was going to be where my life brought me. But life happens and I've loved it. And while I was home with these 3 boys, these 3 babies, I became obsessed with home renovations. My husband used to be like, "You're watching another show?" And I just kept watching it. And I thought, like, I can do this. I'm going to do this one day. And after our 3rd surprise boy, about a year later, I got my real estate license because my husband said, before we dump a bunch of money into anything, you've got to get to the market. And that was really great advice. So I became a real estate agent. A couple years after that, a listing fell into my hands that I knew as soon as I walked into it, this was going to be my first flip. And it was, and I can get into it more later, but it came out beautiful. It was a 70s style ranch home. I don't know if you saw the pictures. I had sent a link to it in my application, but it had the original shag carpet and everything. The owner had passed away and his family had called me to list it. And because he hadn't been there in a while, during Hurricane Ida, the air and electricity had been off for a long time. So when you walked into this place, it was like hard to take a breath. It was so musty. It didn't deter me. Like, I can see a place, I can see something awful and know the beauty that is coming. And we negotiated price. I got my first house. And 3 months later, I sold it to another family whose home had flooded during Ida, and was able to offer them this incredibly beautiful, for all intents and purposes, new house. And they could start this like new happy chapter from the tragedy they had just left. So that's my first and only flip so far, but I'm hungry and I'm ready for a new experience. And I'm going to let Kristen talk about her background, her experience.
Well, actually, I'm an accountant too. I had 2 boys and then I got a divorce. And so I was at home with my 2 children. I actually did photography on the side. I was a comptroller for the parish government. But anyway, Hurricane Katrina happened. Single mother. I lived in a very old houses. I love old houses. I love old everything. And even my inspector at the time was like, "Do you really want this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I really want it. I'm going to make this house my own." Well, Katrina happened. Tree fell in it. Single mom, 2 boys. Insurance only gives me so much money. I'm like, well, this stuff can't be that hard to do. So I hired what I could hire. And then I figured out, which is crazy. And I was explaining to her last night, I'm like, Time Life books. I don't know if you know what those are. But back when I was a kid, they used to give these subscriptions. You could buy them, and it was Time Life books. It showed you how to like put in a light fixture, and it showed you how to put this. Somebody at work had them, so I got them all, and I learned how to do things. And like in the evenings when I'd get off work, I'd work on the house or on the weekends and everything. And I, hired like electricians and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of started. And then I ended up remarrying, lost my job, had a child. Another child. So I have a 30-year-old, 24-year-old, and an 8-year-old. I'm retired. That's what I said. I am retired. I am not doing this anymore. I'm supposed to be I should be a grandparent right now. I'm not. I have a daughter. I'm a busy person. I have to like do things. Well, my husband, his mom's an interior designer and his dad's an architect. He knows all about tools. He bought me all these tools. He doesn't know how to use these tools. So I got on YouTube and Google, and I Googled everything, and I learned how to use them. So we had a builder grade house. So I started like fiddling in my house, making it not builder grade and adding custom molding, like crown molding, and like just little things. So I started doing it, and all my friends were like, "Oh, will you do this to my house? Will you do this to my house? Will you do this to my house?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm bored." I mean, and when my daughter started school, I'm like, I'm really bored now because I am not going back to work because she's busy. And so I've been doing that. And then my mother-in-law wanted to buy a house on the lakefront, and we bought a really old house. And I was going to renovated it. I gutted it myself. And then I've just like been redoing rooms. I'm definitely I love closets. I love organizations. If I don't know how to do it, I learn. I make furniture. I don't know. If I don't know how to do it,
She does everything.
Now I have this workshop. I mean, I built my daughter a playhouse that she does not even get in. And I told her it's fixing to be my woodshed. And I mean, it's this beautiful playhouse that I would have died when I was a kid to have. I mean, my playhouse was sheets hanging up around the little drop shed off the shed. That's my playhouse. She has a beautiful playhouse, but she's like, it's too hot in there. And I'm like, well, you're not getting electricity because that's just not happening. She wants electricity. Well, my she shed is next to it. And she's like, well, you have electricity over there and you have an air conditioner. I'm like, no, like not happening. So,
Pay some bills.
pay some bills, learn how to do something. Although she has a knack for, like, she designed her own bedroom and she draws everything out for me and I let her paint it. And she does. I mean, she actually does have some good ideas.
Pretty handy.
When she heard about this, she was like, can I be on your staff? Like, can I work for y'all? I mean, this morning on the way to school, she's like, Mom, I mean, really, I want to work for you. And I'm like, no, you're lazy. No, not happening. So anyway, that is kind of how I've evolved. All my friends were like, you really need to start like marketing yourself and social media. You need to start doing this stuff. And I'm like, okay, my husband's a doctor. He works all the time. I'm running a household. I'm like, I'm getting too old to do social media. But so I've been I'm learning how to do Instagram. My 30-year-old son's trying to teach me how to do TikTok and make videos. I did a TikTok video with my daughter. Her Girl Scout troop had to they need to turn something they needed to upscale, like, take something and make something new out of it. Well, everybody else went there with milk cartons and they made birdhouses. Well, she came in with a piece of furniture. I mean, we put gold legs on it. We repainted it, had gold knobs and everything. And I was like, oh, wait, did I do that too much? And I'm like, but that's the only thing I knew how to take if somebody was throwing it away. So I took it and I made her a TikTok of it. And so we TikToked her and I teach her how to do it. I've taught lots of friends how to do things and we make birdhouses with kids, whatever. Like,
my best description of Kristen is, if it can be done, she will do it. And I was recently, you can go look at my social media. I was recently asking people, like, where are the carpenter classes? Like, I know it's in my DNA and I can do this. And here comes Kristen. And so we're actually making plans in the comment section about her getting with me and teaching me how to use the miter saw and starting doing this hands-on.
Yeah, I was like, do you have a saw? No, I have a saw.
This was literally a week before I saw the Cabin Wars information. So I'm like, here we go. This is our chance. We're gonna work together. We're gonna do this.
I have everything. And it's so funny because I drive an Acura MDX and I put my table saw in the back. My miter saw goes in the front seat and I have a toolbox that goes in the back. And everybody's like, you need a truck. I'm like, 2x4s are like, up against the dashboard and everything. I'll send it to my friends. I'm like, I got the wood. I'm like, I'm like, I do need a truck. So I'm also an accountant. I'm very trucks right now, not the time to buy one. So
not the time to buy anything.
Well, I have a 30-year-old son with a truck. Take my car, I get your truck. So
competitive edge. How do you believe your unique skills, personality, and experience set you apart from maybe other home flippers or people that might be applying?
Well, we told you that we're both accountants, right? So we're going to work that budget to death. Yes. I feel like we have an edge over everybody else, like from that department. We will work those numbers and we will get the deals and we'll make the absolute best out of what we're given.
And we know, I know a lot of people and we have a lot of connections.
We're lucky to be really, close.
I'm from this area. So
and I'm an active real estate agent. So I know what takes people's breath away. So I'm very up to date and I feel like that is going to come easy to me. We've both successfully done this before and we're just starting out and we were so hungry. And so we were so motivated. And I feel like we'd be great for this. I feel like our personalities would be a lot of fun on TV to watch. And
my friends say that when they hear my accent, they're like, oh, they just hear your accent. I'm like, I don't have an accent.
So I think being an accountant, being in real estate, being super hands-on, and we both have you know, we both do. We both have really great tastes, and they happen to be like similar tastes. So I just think we're going to meld well. We're going to be an excellent team. I don't know if we have any other teams competing. That's part of why I'm so excited, is to be doing this, possibly to be doing this with Kristen.
What makes you guys the 1-2 punch?
I know, like, especially with me, like I do a lot of the work myself. Like, I mean, I built cabinets and I mean, I finished some work. Like, yeah, I can do all that kind of stuff.
And it's going to be a lot of like teacher student, you know,
Yeah.
and
And-
the dynamic of
And
that.
like the whole dynamic of it, I'll also like be teaching you as I go along that, and people would get to see, oh, wait, like, you know, because that's what every single one of my friends are like, why aren't you host? And I have done workshops at my house to teach them how to make mimosa bars or wine buckets and everything. Like, you know, because that's what we do. But
Her shirt says it takes a vineyard.
well, if you have a 30, 24, and an 8-year-old, I'm going to tell you. I mean, I'm just
It takes a
saying,
vineyard.
it takes a big vineyard. Like my oldest son at one point, he was like, Mom, like girls don't do this kind of stuff. I'm like, just watch and see. Like a girl that can actually build. People always say that you build things. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Right. And I go up, pick my daughter up to school, sheetrock dust in my hair and everything. And they're like, oh, you've been building today. I'm like, yes, I have. Like, no, I was demoing today.
Yeah, the
And-
1-2 punches are our background.
And then the real
being women
estate
and mothers.
and the real estate with you, like you see like what is being sold and what people are,
Yeah, what sits and what
What
sells and
doesn't.
one sits.
Can you share a moment when you realized the power of transformation? Maybe perhaps an instance when you witnessed impact of a renovated space that you did, or it could be personally, or maybe even someone else. Just the power of transformation.
That's what
About your laundry.
yeah. Okay, so y'all saw the laundry room that I did.
Yes.
That is one of my very, very, very best friends. By the way, she is not happy the fact because she and I are we actually started LLC to remodel houses. Her husband died of very rare kidney cancer when her son was 6 years old. Her son's now in college. And so she lived in the house with her husband that they bought together. And then finally, when her son got older and she was like, I really need to just get away from this. And so she bought another house. And this house, she was actually the mayor in Bogalusa, which you probably don't even know where that's at. And she just recently is no longer the mayor. So she's sitting at home by herself and she's kind of getting a little depressed, sitting at home. Son's back, it's off away at college. I lost my job. My house is a mess. So she was like, will you like just come over here and just help me clean out a room? So she was like, you know, just struggling a little bit and it's hard. And so I went over there and I'm like, oh my God, girl, this laundry room is driving me crazy. Since you've moved in this house, I can't stand looking at it. I'm like, let's do something with this. I'm like, all right. So one day I was over there and I just took down a wall and she's like, what? I'm like, let's take down this wall. I said, this wall doesn't even need to be here. This is what we're going to do. And it did take a while because her grandmother died in the middle of it, and which was like who raised her. I'm in between funerals and everything and staying indoors and I'd go up there like every day, which is like about a 45-minute drive. I take my daughter to school and go up there and work. And it took a little over a month because I only got to do it like 2 or 3 days a week. And I made this whole room out of that horrible mess that was before. And now she's like, oh my God, like, I just want to leave my door open. It's right off the kitchen. She's like, I leave it open because it's so pretty in there. And she's just like, I just sat in there and she was like, I just want to sleep in here. And she's like, this house is finally becoming me. It's not me and Alan. It's me. This is my house now. And then after that, we redid a bathroom. And so now we did our game room. And it's like, we've done a lot of other things. And so to me, that turned a house that through all of that she had been through. And I like doing that. Like when I go into somewhere and it turns something into something that's yours when
like an extension of yourself.
Right. So that's what I've done it like for other people, but she's like the biggest because she's my best friend. And I got to actually see the heart of it, like how it made her feel.
So let me cast a vision for you. It's open house day and you've got people that are coming to see these cabins who have seen it ugly before and now they're seeing what you've transformed it to. You don't have to give us all of your secrets and what you intend to do, but what do you hope they notice when they go in, and how do you hope they react to the transformation that you did?
I hope that they notice, I don't know my cabin experiences haven't been like mind blowing. You know, when I walk into a cabin normally, it just feels like musty and dirty, and I have to wipe everything down and it still looks dirty. I want people to walk in and feel freshness, feel clean, feel straight lines, feel like this is their home, but it's not. And I want it to have like flares of like local elements. Kristen was talking about this last night. Like if we were going to, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember if there's a fireplace or not in there, but if there was, like using the local stone as like the veneer around the fireplace, like to incorporate what is actually outside inside, but have it be like accents to kind of offset like the modern touch in there. But I just want people to walk in and feel like we're home, we're not camping. I want them to feel like they're camping outside, but not inside. And I want this to speak to the mothers, like specifically, because I think about how many moms, because we're in Boy Scouts and I've camped once out of the million times that they've gone. How many mothers miss out on the camping experience because they don't want to deal with that kind of stuff? They want the running water. They don't want the bugs. They want to be able to cook.
A bathroom.
Yeah, they want to not be freezing or super hot. Like they want all the creature comforts, but they don't want to do, they don't want to miss the camping. So I think that I want people to walk in and feel like I'm home, I'm enjoying this, and I'm not missing out on all the memories my kids are making outside.
And another thing, and just thinking about, okay, like I said, I think I've been there before. And I'm like, I remember that. I don't know. I mean, look, 3 kids later, whatever. When like a lot of the things from my childhood, and when I go back to it, it's like it brings back really good memories of mine. Like, like we camped on the river all the time, and like now the river changes so much. So the cabins that we camped in, the river's changed and it's no longer there. It fell into the river. So my thing about it is to keep that integrity. So someone who used to camp there when they were 10 years old and had really great memories is to make it still remind them of that, but to look new and clean, and but to still have that, oh wait, I remember I remember this being like this, but like, I don't know. I like that because memories, when you see things, it reminds you of greater times. And people, I mean, every time I've camped before, I mean, those are great memories. Not, even my boys, like you can ask them, oh yeah, that's where I learned to ride a bike at this campground, or
So what amenities would you include, or you think that are important in a glamping experience?
Indoor, outdoor as well.
Indoor and outdoor, yeah.
There needs to be a toilet.
A functioning flushable toilet.
I'm not talking about like a little porta potty. Well, I don't remember if I think
No
they have
outhouses.
one. Yeah, no outhouses. But I think they have toilets in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would say like a fully functioning kitchen with an oven, a gas stove, a refrigerator, even an ice maker.
a fireplace to do s'mores.
Yes, or a fire pit if there's no fireplace inside the cabin, but definitely a place for s'mores.
Outside. Definitely I feel like the indoor outdoor space needs to be like all one, because I know like when I camped and everything, we always extended, like we did a camper. So even my underneath the awning was a part of my camper. I decorated it. I put out rugs. I put out tables and tablecloths, and I put my stove out there. And so the outdoor space has to be part of the inside space because that's more square footage that you get. And I mean, it's how I do it at my house. My patio is, I built a kitchen out there. Yeah. I built my own outdoor kitchen. But so because it's more square footage of my house. So I feel like when you're camping, you need to, it's not just inside, it's outside too. And it all needs to be one.
Yeah. And I would like to be able to build, and I know you could do this, you could teach me to do this, those Murphy beds against the wall so that people with large families like can still stay in the same cabin.
Because you know what? Everybody wants to show up, and then the kids want to bring, oh, can I bring this friend?
Yep.
Can
They
I
gotta
have this
bring
friend?
friends.
Like, oh, where are we gonna put all these people?
We're ready. We're ready. Give us
Love
the
it.
check. No.
What it would mean to you, and if you could connect this to maybe a story of adversity, it would be good, but not necessary. But say you're it's the final day, and it's this intense waiting period of all these votes being tallied, and then you show up for the filming of the last day, and it's announced that you guys won the $40,000. You're the Glamp Masters for the season. You win the $40,000 check. How does that relate to your personal journey, and what would that mean for you moving forward?
When I lost my job, when my husband and I were getting married, he asked me to marry him. I was moving out of parish, and they said, I mean, you're marrying a doctor, you don't need to work anymore. And I got fired. And I remember my oldest son was like, Mom, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to support us? Because I mean, I've supported the boys for so many years by myself, and now I'm not working anymore. And then I chose not to because we were moving and I had a younger son that still needed me to be there a little more. I don't work. Like, I don't contribute to the house financially. I do odd men things. And half the time, sometimes I do it for free. I'm like I had a neighbor who had breast cancer, and she's not working, and her husband's a firefighter, and they're like with 3 children. And she's like everything in my closet fell down. I need a whole new closet. I'm like, you live next door. I'll go over there and I built her a beautiful closet. I'm like, just pay for the wood. And so I've always done this, and everybody keeps saying you need to start a business, you need to start a business, you need to do this stuff. And so to me, it would be sometimes it's validation that what I actually do is like I actually can do it. And like with my children and everything, especially like, and I was always explaining to her, my daughter, like having a daughter now, I try to teach her the world's your oyster. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do, because
they'll try
to teach her that. Like, to win that would be definitely a validation that, you know what, I mean, I can do this. And somebody else actually likes my work. So, a lot of people actually like my work, not just my Facebook friends and, who are, probably just saying it to be nice, but
no, that's definitely not true.
And
we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. And like when we were talking about last night, my main thing is validation. That's what it means to me.
For me, it's more of like solidifying my launch into this career path. I had done the one flip. I even made a profit, even though I had a lot of surprises. Like, I had to completely replace the septic tank, and I did not budget at all for how much electricians and plumbers cost. But even having said all of that, I still made a profit. And so I got my feet wet, I got my toes in, and the fire is lit. And if we win this together, it will just solidify the turn in my career path. And ultimately, what I really want is to become so successful that I leave my 3 boys a legacy, and that they also see that the world is their oyster and they can do anything if they have the will.
I love that.
What's great is we just can sense your like hunger, which is like so awesome. It's really cool to hear. How do you think viewers will connect with your personality, style, or approach on a show?
We were just talking about this before we logged on, and we are both really down to earth. There's no
I might have to watch my mouth.
Yeah, no, me too. We both have loose lips sometimes, but we promise we will
Let it
do
fly.
our best for the show.
We'll have a bleeping mechanism. It's fine.
But yeah, so we're really down to earth, and I feel like we're really relatable. We're both moms. We both actually have 3 children. We
Mine are just
her 2 are a little.
I just
older.
waited a long time. I'm waiting another about 8 years. I might have 1 more.
Well, we actually met at soccer, so that's how we met.
Right.
We became fast friends when her daughter and my 8-year-old son played 4-year-old soccer together, and my daughter
decided that was too much running for her.
Yeah, my oldest too. I feel like we don't come from anything. Anything we have, we've made it ourselves.
My dad can't screw in a light bulb. Literally. Although he's 80 now, so I wouldn't want him to.
Yeah.
But my mom actually was the strong one in my family. My mother died when I was 25. She's 46. She was at stage 4 or 5 colon cancer. So I had to take care of my mother at 23 and bury my mother at 25, which was the weirdest, like unless you've been there, it's like, oh wait, I haven't even grown up yet. Like at the time I did have 2 children. I had a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, but this was 5, 6. But my mother was a very strong person. She always taught me to be better than what I am. And always not to let. My mother mowed the yard. My dad didn't. And my mother planted the flower beds. She killed everything. But I would go back and plant the flowers. I'm like, Mom, you're killing it all. So like, I probably just went off on that. But I have a tendency to do that. Middle class families, didn't come from anything. I'm still frugal.
I feel like we manage a household. We are not celebrities. We are everyday people. We're your neighbors. We're your soccer moms. We volunteer at the school. Swim mom. I just feel like everybody can relate to us, and I think it's really cool that like we were inspired by shows just like this, and we did something with it.
when I was little, back then, you only had like one TV in the house, and I'd get up really early before my mom got up because she would watch the TV and then I couldn't. And this old house used to come on PBS. God, it was my favorite show ever. I mean, I was like 4 or 5. That and The Price is Right were my 2 shows. So, and I love this. I still love this old house. I still like, I'll put it sometimes on like Netflix. It's not on Netflix, it's just on one of those things on the little apps or whatever on the TV. Yeah, no, I've always loved, like, ever since I was little.
Yeah.
There was a point to that story, and
Well, you just to say, like, you were inspired by shows like this too,
Yes.
and we took that inspiration and
We still
we
watch
made
it.
it happen. Yeah, we still watch the shows. And I just feel like that's why we're relatable. We are you. We're just out here pulling up the floor.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are very relatable, and I think you have the ability to become some celebrities too.
Mhm.
Final pitch in a sentence or two. Why should viewers root for you on Cabin Wars?
Here's our pitch. Ready? In a sentence or two, why should viewers root for us on Cabin Wars? Because we are the viewers. We got our inspiration from watching shows just like this, and we acted on that inspiration. We are your neighbors, we are your mothers, and we are just like you, trying to make our dreams happen while we raise our crazy and busy children.
Boom. Nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. Oh, that was excellent. We're really good. You make a good duo, and definitely entertaining personalities that I think that people would connect with.
So at the end of every show, we plan to have a glass of wine together and recap all the hard work we did for that day. So
Oh,
Perfect.
man, I love it. I love it.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, guys. Well, it was great hearing your story and listening to you guys interact. It was actually pretty entertaining. So
Yep. Enjoy your glass of
we
wine.
enjoyed it. Enjoy your glass.
we will.